White knight Graham Linehan fights for women and girls against the trans community. The trans community lashes out, turns off his employment and income, and his loyal wife, Helen, dumps him. That's what this story is about in its essence. Don't be fooled, guys. There's nothing else to this. And all you lookism crowd, take a look at this. Graham is an average-looking guy at best, and his wife's a knockout. He gained enough fame and fortune to bribe this leech, and that's what she is, she's a leech, into his life. She accepted. This is not a partnership. This is a servant-master relationship. And this woman does not care about this man's well-being whatsoever. Now, he supports her in the things that she wants, and when he was attacked by these trans people, she was not there for him at all. She does not reciprocate. Now, to show you what it was all about, Lyman says, I lost my career, my wife, friends, and reputation when I was engulfed by a tsunami of trans rights madness, right? Now, he said, he and his wife, I had an inkling of what I was up against when my wife, Helen, and I played a small part in repealing Ireland's draconian abortion laws. Now, Graham, where are you? This was strictly for her, not you. Your wife, Helen, wasn't fighting for the rights. She was fighting for the privilege of life and death over the fetus. You don't have that right. If she wants to kill the fetus and you want the child to live, you have no right to that. Okay? So this was strictly for her. Now, during this protest, guess what? The trans were protesting for what they wanted, right? We tried to attend every protest, and at one event, I remember some strange person with a bullhorn bellowing out this nonsense. We want the state to pay for abortions and surgeries for trans people. So trans people advocating for what they want is nonsense? Well, that's pretty shitty for you to say. I felt uneasy. Sure, let's talk about trans rights, but first things first. We hadn't yet won the fight on abortion. So this male feminist insulted these people. I mean, this is what MRAs get too when we're fighting for our rights as people. Some feminist derailer will come up and say, oh, we care about your rights, gaslighting. We'll just put it on the back burner for eternity while we exercise for, our protest for greater privileges for us. This is what feminists do to people. And so this lowlife used feminist tactics against these trans women, right? So you get what you deserve, pal. Okay? And by the way, this is the reason why his wife didn't support him too. The trans women are attack dogs for feminists. Attack dogs against men for feminists, and he knows it. They don't affect his wife, and that's why she doesn't care in the end. That's why she doesn't fight for him, right? He even admits it. Look what he says down here. This was disgraceful, but typical how many journalists like to frame things that involved feminists and their allies. So Graham here has admitted that the trans people are allies to the feminists. So he knows that this is feminist attacking him. And feminists speak for women. And that's why your wife, dude, didn't support you. Well, she supports the feminists. Feminists speak for her. What they do to you, she supports. She wants you to know your place. You're her little servant boy. This is how it goes, Graham. Now, look how much this guy's a woman worshiper. Then, when Ireland voted to overturn the abortion ban, Amnesty Ireland tweeted that this was a victory for pregnant people. I was enraged. My wife wasn't a pregnant person. She was a woman and a mother. Yet how dare these people call her a person? Being a mere person is for us male peasants. She's a woman. She's a goddess. Worship her. Right? But when they start attacking him, look how mealy-mouthed and mouse-like this guy is, right? I knew my positions were thought through and sound, and I was sure that once people saw I was arguing good faith, they'd see the problems with gender ideology and we could have a sensible, grown-up conversation about it. So when he gets attacked, he's not enraged. He's enraged over his wife being called person. But he's this limp wrist when he's standing up against people stripping him of his employment and his income. What a pathetic wretch. What a pathetic wretch. And this shows you that trans women are mere attack dogs for feminists, because this shows you that women have more power than them socially. This trans woman, Hayden, and Adrian Harrop, a Liverpool-based GP, who was temporarily suspended for practicing medicine as punishment for his aggression towards women on Twitter. So talking smack to women on Twitter got these guys in trouble, or I should say this trans woman and this guy in trouble, right? So it proves to you that this is why your wife doesn't care about you, dude, because these feminist, or these, well, they are feminist, these trans women are beneath her. They can't do any harm to her. They can only harm you. Okay? And to prove it, here he is saying more jobs began to fall away. Right? He got on the bad side of these feminist attack dogs and they shut off his employment. And what was your wife Helen's reaction to this? Right? A chasm was opening up between you and her, right? As she watched me lose jobs and opportunities. He said this all in a nutshell, what this article is about. He lost status, his wife dumped him, right? And look how he tries to sugarcoat this. Helen was looking for normality, and I was perpetually dismayed and angry. She asked me to cease operations, which she was perfectly within her rights to do so to protect our family. So normality is code word for I want you to keep paying me what you've been paying me. It has nothing to do with him being angry or dismayed, right? And she's not about principles, right? It's not about protecting her family too. Like her family, she wants under her complete control. That's why she, up here, where are you? That's why she fought for abortion privileges for herself, dude. Look, he says a woman was arrested at home in front of her two young children and put in prison cell for 7 hours after she referred to this trans woman as a man on Twitter. This woman did not lose her family, her job, her husband, her kids, anything. She was merely threatened to say, stop behaving this way. And did your wife Helen get together with her and protest against this? No. She protested for abortion privileges, but not for this. You know why? Because it's not important to them. This woman just spent a couple hours in jail. So what? They know that this hate movement, you have admitted it's a hate movement against men, isn't going to, they're after you, not her. Now, did you ever see Mad, right? Mothers Against Drunk Driving. What would happen is drunk drivers would run over their property, their children. And one mother came to another and said, oh no, I really cared for my property. I heard your property was damaged too. We should get together and fight, these drunk drivers. So Linehan, these women do get together and work for anything that's in their own self-interest. So the fact that they're not fighting this now shows you it's not in their self-interest. See? You loser, you white knight loser. Women they're very in tune to their social standing, and men aren't. They can read what this guy's trying to do, even if he lacks the self-awareness. Listen to this. I had another meeting around the supposed problem of my defending women and girls, in which, as always, no one could locate a flaw in my analysis, as I explained over and over again. Children are being hurt. Women are losing their sports, their language, their privacy. So this guy thinks women are listening to this and thinking he's on my side. No, Graham, what they hear is that you are advocating for yourself by saying, I'm a good white knight. I am virtue signaling that I'm on your side. That's what they hear. And yet they know that's not true, because if you were on their side, Graham, where are you again? If you were on their side, you would buckle down underneath the trans community that attacks you, because you being on their side is knowing your place. You work for this woman, and anytime you're abused as a man, you take it. She actually likes that. She wants to abuse you as a man as well. So when you get abused as a man, that's good to her. Just keep working and keep supporting her. Know your place, right? And as I showed, these trans women are beneath these women. These women can get them jailed simply by saying they said something to me on Twitter. Also, men project their male mindset onto women. In this case, it's principles. Graham here, the white knight, is going to throw himself on his sword for his principles, and he thinks his wife will appreciate it. He said, later I heard my agent in the return declaring me an unperson. Hattrick was suggesting an upfront payment of £200,000 as an advance on my royalties. Initially, I agreed to go along with it because I needed the money. Yeah, you needed to keep your wife bribed, right? But then I changed my mind, right? My heart was ripped apart. I closed the door forever on making any kind of deal with Hattrick. I was prepared to betray myself for £200,000, but I couldn't abandon my daughter, right? And what'd your wife do? She dumped you, you loser. She dumped you, right? This is incredible. Your wife doesn't have any principles. Principles are for men, not for women. They lack them. Her principle was I'm in charge, and whatever is good for me is what I'm for. That's what her principles are, right? Now, he shows daughter worship here, right? I saw an interview with the mother of one of the women competitors who found themselves up against trans swimmer Leah Thomas, right? And he said Leah was physically intact, and all the girls worked out how many towels to take into the locker room to cover themselves up completely as they changed. Oh yeah, these girls, I really feel sorry for them. A guy might see them naked. It's all over, right? And this is why I don't give a shit, guys. Way back in the late 70s, women reporters fought for the privilege, not the right, the privilege to invade men's locker rooms. Because, out of no other reason than domination. Telling men to know their place. They said, I can walk into your locker rooms and eye you naked all I want. So I don't give a shit about this guy and his daughter. I asked my daughter what she would do, right? I'm not sure I have a choice. I still can't believe I had to tell my adult daughter that you always have a choice whether you undress in front of a man. Like I said, dude, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit because men don't have the right to keep women off them, right? And here's another thing I want to ask you, you loser, you white knight loser. Does that include lesbians? Like when your daughter was 15 and she went into the locker room and she was being eyed but with lust by some 40-year-old lesbian. Were you against that? No. And your wife against that? No, that's fine. So this isn't about lust and sex and all that business. You just hate men. That's all that's going on here. And just to hammer down on the fact that these man haters, the trans women, are involved with man haters. He said, look, I crossed paths once more with the comic actor James Dreyfus. I persuaded him to sign a letter asking Stonewall, the former lesbian and gay rights charity, which has altered its remit and done more than any other institution in the UK to promote extreme identity ideology, to reconsider its stance. Stonewall, right? Stonewall was gay men standing up for themselves. Lesbian, that is women, came in, told the gay men to know their place and took over, right? And then they introduced the transgender ideology, right? James agreed without hesitation. A letter argued that Stonewall was seeking to prevent public debate with these issues by branding it as transphobic, anyone who questions its current trans policy. Stonewall refused, even asking the question was painted as a moral failing. See? So Stonewall is a feminist psyop dude. They're female controlled. That's what feminist controlled is. It's female controlled. And the trans people are attack dogs to men. And that's why they support them. Okay? Yeah. I just want to show you guys what women think of men in general. Did you know that Lineman here suffered from testicular cancer? Stretched out on a hospital trolley after a surgeon had removed my cancer-riddled testicle, waiting for a doctor to give me the all clear to go home. I lazily opened Twitter, right? He's a survivor of cancer. He thought he was going to get this ally in this choreographer, Rosie Kay, right? The discussion turned heated as she explained that she strongly believed in the reality of sex between she and her son, had both almost died while she was in labor, right? During that ordeal, her womanhood was literally a matter of life and death for her. Her husband would never know that experience. And that difference between them meant something. See, so this guy, Lineman, was talking to this woman. He suffered cancer, but this woman who had to deal with supposed life and death, he couldn't understand her, could he? No man could understand that. No man has ever dealt with the threat of death or suffered pain or anything. This is what he seeks as an ally, right? Oh, by the way, this woman, if her life was really threatened, she could have aborted her son, right? I mean, that's why they were fighting for abortion rights, or I should say abortion privileges. So here she is fighting. This woman probably say, yeah, I agree with your wife, Helen. Let us have control over where this little boy lives or dies. And now she's trying to claim that she is these women who would die for her son, right? So they're claiming victimhood, right? So this is how despicable you have to be a white knight. You really have to be a complete subhuman. This guy Lyman joined and supported hate movements against men. When it came to his doorstep, he thought that his wife was going to be there for him, that people were going to protect him. No, dude, they're just like you. They hate other men. You didn't know your place as a man. You stood on your so-called principles, your woman-worshiping principles. You lost your career, and your wife dumped you because that's what she was there for, not you, you loser, you white knight loser. That's all I need to say about these guys.